Anthony Weiner and Mark Sanford are both fighting to reassert their place on the political stage, and that's less than 2 years after their transgression. So are we becoming more willing to forgive and trust? Are there limits to political redemption, and where do we draw that line? How come you didn't decide to run again? Because you spent a year in prison.
I spent
right?
a year, yeah, so I resigned my office. The scandal was sort of about money. I didn't take any money, but I was knowledgeable about two of my aides who coordinated illegally with an independent, so-called independent party to produce a mailer about my opponent. I didn't tell the feds that I knew my aides worked with him, so that was my scandal. I resigned, and I had to, so I didn't have a chance to run again.
What was your outcome?
Well, I pled guilty to obstruction of justice. I served a year in federal prison in Kentucky, and now I'm working as a professor and writing a lot about politics, but no longer actively engaged as a candidate.
Do you think you could run again? Would you ever run again?
I would run again, except that my wife would divorce me, so there's that sticking point.
Do you think your constituency would trust you again? Because that's really the question that we're asking here, right?
Yeah, it is, and it's a great question. I know I had a lot of constituents urge me not to resign. They didn't understand that I didn't have a choice at that point. At that point, pleading guilty to a felony required me to resign. But, it's something that I don't think a lot about because I'm in a different state now. My political career was in Missouri, and now I'm here in New York. So I think there are a lot of constituents that are willing to give people a second chance, depending on your crime. Obviously, if you commit a violent crime, they're not going to be willing. If you take a bribe, I think it's a lot harder to ask for a second chance. So, the type of things that Weiner and Sanford did, I think it's very plausible that voters could give them a second chance.